I have opened SQL Server Management Studio, and now I'm going to connect to the database engine. The database engine is connected, and I would like to show the tables available. Accounts payable table database is already available. So these are the tables we have. We have vendors table, invoices table, invoice line items table, general accounts, contact updates, and terms table is also there. So if you want to see the relationship, what we can do is we can right click on relationship diagrams, create new diagram. So I'm going to choose the tables that we want to include: vendors, invoices, invoice line items. For the time being, it's enough for us. So this is how they are related. So vendors table is related to invoices table. So vendors table is related to invoices table, and invoices table is connected to invoice line items table. So here vendor ID is the primary key, and here vendor ID is the foreign key. And invoice ID of the invoices table plus invoice ID and invoice sequence of these invoice line items table are connected. Here you can see invoice ID of the invoice table, and invoice ID here it is foreign key as well as primary key. You might remember there are two attributes are used as the primary key of this table. It is a compound key. So here invoice ID is a primary key, here it is a foreign key, right? So we will see how we can retrieve data from tables, two tables. First I'm starting a new query, and I'm making sure the accounts payable database selected. It is selected. So I'm going to select vendor ID, comma vendor name, comma invoice date, and invoice total. So here we are going to select vendor ID from vendors table, vendor name from vendors table, invoice date from invoices table, and invoice total from invoices table. So from vendors join, this is the way to join the tables. Joins invoices. The condition is on vendors.vendor ID, because in those two tables we have the same fields, equals invoices.vendor ID. Invoices, okay, invoices.vendor ID. Okay, so here it is showing red wavelength because the program does not know whether we are referring to the vendor ID from vendors table or vendor ID from invoices table. So we will say we are referring to the vendor ID from vendors table. Okay, now let's run this. The records are selected, right? So this is how it works. You can have where close, where invoice total is greater than 1000. You can apply the conditions, and you can order this, order by invoice total descending, DESC, okay, descending order. Here you see it works. Okay, this is how we code the join conditions.